Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Ultimate Human Experience podcast. You already know who it is. It is your girl, Rashida, aka Righteous Sun. And on today's episode, I am super excited. We have Zak Lioutas. We are going to be talking all about intuition is the new intelligence, which I truly do believe as well. So yes, please remember to like, subscribe, and share. Yes, share with family and friends and those who you feel will vibe with this message. With that being said, let's get into it. Welcome, Zak. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for having me on the show today.
Thank you so much. I hope I said your last name right. Did I?
You know what? When you said, I was like, dang, girl, right on.
Ms. Rashida. So sometimes people will botch that. So I'm always like, oh, I got to make sure I get this at least as accurate as possible. So yes, thank you so much, Zak, for coming on. I can't wait to get into this conversation. We like almost started before I started recording. So I said, you know what? Like there's too many things that are going to come through. So let's just hit that record button. But let's talk all about Zak first, because you are a spiritual alchemist, an intuitive guide, and a transformational mentor. And nobody just pops into that usually, unless you have people within your family or lineage who are doing that. But like that was very sparse back then. And now we're in a different time. And so many people are diving into it. They want to transform their lives on a deeper level, not just on the physical, but we are definitely diving deeper into the spiritual aspect of that. So please tell us all about Zak and how you got into helping so many people with your amazing gifts.
Well, it wasn't me that wanted to get into it. It was God that said, this is where I'm placing you. So deal with it, child. Basically, that's how the cookie crumbled. I've known my gifts since I was 3 years old. No one in my family is a coach or a mentor or a guide or anything like that. But my grandfather had the gift so powerful. And my grandfather was in the hospital, interesting enough. And he called my mom and he said, I haven't seen that little one. I'm about to die. Tell her to come. I want to see her. And when that happened, and I said, yes, mom, I'm going to go see, grandfather, he picked me up at the airport. And when he picked me up at the airport, I was like, yo, weren't you supposed to be dying? He's like, once I found out you were coming, something happened. And the doctor said I was well again. And so I never really thought of it until like years later, because after that, I think it was like 3 or 4 years after that, my grandfather passed away. I had a very close connection with my grandfather on a spiritual level because he lived in Greece. I lived in Canada. But spiritually, there was some bond there that we didn't get to explore it. But when all this stuff happened and I brought him back to Canada with me, interesting enough, this man was supposed to die. Here he is coming back to Canada with me. And then he lived with us for a bit. And then he went back home and he passed away, I think like 4 to 6 years later. I can't remember the time. At that time, my grandfather came to me in my dreams and as a bird in my sleep. And he said to me, you have cancer, go get fixed, go get checked. So that's when a lot of things started happening for me. I went through the whole cancer bout at 25. And then my gifts kept on opening up. And when we go through this, we think like we're living in this place of like, it's a gift. But sometimes you go through depression, you go through anxiety, you go through like all these things. You think, this isn't gift, it's a curse, like to have all this, right? You go through all these, and so funny because I want to say this because Spirit brought this to me yesterday. We start watching these movies and they had like people with bipolar, schizophrenia. And I'm like watching this going, are you guys trying to tell me something? Because watching what these people are experiencing, I feel like that at times.
Mm-hmm.
So it's telling me like I'm bipolar or schizophrenic because yeah, it feels like that in the spiritual realm too.
Yeah.
So the gift just was something obviously I had to learn to grow into and develop on a deeper level. And really it came with loving myself and what God put inside of me. And which I realized that my purpose was so much bigger in the world. And it was about me really accepting, I don't want to say the challenge because life is one big challenge, but me actually accepting my authenticness, my truth, and everything to do with me. And I thought, you know what is my biggest love in life is watching women come out of depression and being like, yeah, like it's like they get a divorce and then they find their soulmate, they bought the house, their business is so, and that lights me up because I get to guide them through the process. So it was like one thing led to another thing, but I went through hell in a handbag. I went through depression. I went through suicidal thoughts. I went through anxiety. I went through lack and limitation and confusion, blah, blah. I went through all the crap that we all go through to say, fuck it. I got to change my life. And that's why
Mm.
this all came up. And it was lessons like back, I would say back when I was a teenager, I would look at people and think, can't you just see that? Can't you see what's going to happen next? Because I could see it. Like I could see the play by play. So there was so much of life that I want to say that prepared me for where I am today. And we're always in that preparation mode. So that's Zak in a nutshell.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing because there's so many layers to that that all women experience on a regular basis, but we do it in silence. And that piece of going through all the different, what I feel is like transformational moments, whether we look at it as the negative or like what's happening to me, am I going crazy? Like it almost seems like all of those is what transformed you into who you were meant to be. And I
Yeah.
think that that can translate to any woman out there. Doesn't matter what profession, what purpose, what it is that they want to do, what idea they want to do. Like it's going to take the ups and the downs, and we should never look at them as good or bad, but just moments. I always feel like moments of reflection and then taking it and like assessing it, reassessing it, and then making the choices and decisions that we need to make. So now my question, because like Spirit's coming in now my question is, as women are going through that, they always find themselves in this moment of should I? Because they want to over plan or be prepared, right? At the end of the day, like nobody wants to fail, but that's just a part of it, right? So, did you do in your personal life in those moments of feeling like, what am I supposed to do, right? Because what it sounds like is that yours wasn't this purpose that you're like, okay, I'm waking up and I'm doing this, but it was things that over time developed and said, like, okay, now God is showing me this purpose. And even though that wasn't the direction I thought, this is what I should follow.
Wow, that's a loaded question. Yeah. So what brought me to that was depression. And you know how we say we suffer in silence? I went through the silent suffering depression because everyone saw me as strong. As
Mm,
women, we're powerful. As women, we could really do whatever, but when we step into that divine feminine energy and trust that energy, it really takes us to a different level. So what got me into it was my journey, and then to be honest, I kept on saying, "This is a curse. This is a curse." Yeah, I could see everything now. But I didn't want to see it. And then I wanted to go back to the old self. And I remember in meditation, it was like, "No, that's not for you." And no one hired me in an industry that I had literally 24 years experience in. So I had to really trust that, you know what, what's meant for me is out there and it's looking for me too. Right now, I'm taking a detour. And maybe in that
mm,
detour, I have to learn more about myself. In that detour, I'm preparing more because I don't trust myself. There's fear, there's doubt. So I'm taking the longer route. But if I really trusted and really moved forward, it could have been a faster path because that's just me going, okay, I surrender, I trust, I believe. But then all this like comes up, you know? So I now look at fear as excitement or curiosity.
mm,
Someone goes, aren't you afraid? I'm like, I'm more curious because fear
mm,
holds you back, but curiosity allows you to move forward. So
mm.
I grew and I developed and I kept on looking at myself. So that time of getting me from A to B to Z type of a thing was always a time for reflection. Just this weekend, I was in Ottawa doing a show, and that was a year ago that I started doing these shows. And I looked at the girl beside me and I said, wow, how much I've changed in a year. And she goes, right? I said, I went from this, and this to this, and this. And it wasn't easy. I just want people to understand there's no certain way it should look. It's not an easy journey. Are you going to have all your friends and your family around you? 99.9% of the chance, no, because everyone's going to think you're crazy. I mean, God, grace, universe, whatever you want to call it, is always there to guide you. But then you become skeptical. Really? Are you there? Because if you're there, why am I suffering?
Mm,
Why am I going through
mm,
these like moments that I shouldn't feel like I should be going through? Well, why shouldn't you be going through them? Because once we start cleaning the body that has the memory of our past, because now our body's holding on to memories of our trauma, of our pain, of our story, of our journey. So then if we sit in meditation, we're wondering, well, I want to keep my mind clear. Honey, that doesn't happen in meditation. Say, that doesn't happen in meditation because the body has to speak. The body's telling you something. It's really about listening. So when I start listening to myself, started like shifting fear to curiosity and excitement, that changed a lot. Because I said, if this was fear, my body would tell me some other signs. Because fear and excitement feel the same to me.
Yeah.
Fear and curiosity feel the same to me. So I was like, forget it, it's not fear, it's curiosity. And if it's fear, I want my body to tell me something else, to really say be careful, or I want my feet to stop me in my tracks. So what I'm doing is I'm developing my energy. I'm developing the intelligence of my energy. I'm developing my higher consciousness. I'm developing my spirit guides. I'm doing all these different things while I'm also reflecting within myself, while I'm looking at how far I've come, where are there people around me? Those that I used to worry about 5 years ago, or even a year ago, where are they today? So we think there's a certain way of developing or growing or spiritual development, whatever you want to call it. But then we're so out of sync because it's not really what we thought, but what it should be like. I hope that answers your question, because I kind of went.
No, it does. It does. I love how you just said that being in sync and creating that intelligence within, right? Because I think we've been so out of sync for so long that we actually don't trust or don't even know when we are in sync. And as well as whether we are, people say it's like my gut instinct or my gut feeling. I'm also learning that like it's not just the gut, but it's also the heart and being open with the heart to be able to receive a lot of those messages. So what would you say for somebody who is like brand new? Because we're now in a time where a lot more people are waking up. Like this is like, it was like a spiritual community, but it's expanding to something even much larger than any of us could expect it. But we are also like excited for and curious. What would you say to somebody who is brand new to even just connecting to their intuition? Because the first thing I would believe is we need to be able to trust ourselves, our inner knowing. And if we've been so out of sync for so long, or we've been raised to be that way, society, it doesn't help. But we have this calling that's calling us back in some way, that curiosity. What would you say to somebody who is brand new and is just wanting to connect more?
Number one that keeps on coming so strong down is stop looking for external validation, right? Go within by your breath. Your breath is life. Without breath, you're dead. And I don't want to say you're dead. You've crossed over.
Yeah, but honestly, at these times, sometimes you just got to be like straight to the point, right? So, like, get it. Spirit gives it to me like that too.
Like you're dead. So it's like when I look at women, regardless if I'm working with them at a show, if I'm working with them one-on-one, whatever it is, the first thing I look at is breath. And even if I want those that are listening to this podcast right now, where are you breathing right now? Are you breathing into your heart? Are you breathing into your solar plexus? Are you breathing into your head? But are you breathing all the way to your root chakra? Because I would say 90% of the population does not breathe to their root chakra, does not breathe to the foundation of their truth. They get stuck in their throat, they get stuck in their heart, and they go up to their solar plexus, but even that becomes dense energy that they can't even breathe through. So when you're first getting started, start with your breath, because breath is life, energy is life. And if our lower extremities are not receiving that life force through breath, you have digestive disorder, you have bloatiness, you have constipation. I could guarantee your mind goes 1,000 miles an hour. You probably can't sleep. You wake up exhausted. Your sexual energy, your sensual energy is out of whack. Your finances are like everything plays such a huge role in the first two chakras of our body, our root and our sacral chakra. And that is our foundation. So once you start getting breath there, then you start moving into a place of that breath. Then you close your eyes and start to just breathe with your eyes closed. And it's not a matter of clearing your mind, because that is the false way of meditation. It's about allowing to what needs to come up to the surface, to come up to the surface. You are not a victim of it. You're not a character of it. You now just become a bypass of these thoughts, and you just continue to say, thank you, it's time for you to leave. Thank you, it's time for you to leave. It's not like, Oh, I went through that. What was they going through? Who was that? And now you're just saying,
Mm,
thank you and welcome to that energy. Thank you for being stuck in me. Thank you for coming out. But let me just continue allowing you to get stuck in my body. So I always
mm,
say, breathe through it, be a bystander of it. Don't be the character of it. Say, thank you. It's time for you to go. And off you go. Then you start building this growth within yourself of getting rid of the rubbish. We hold so much trauma, so many old stories, especially women. We could hold on to something for 5 years from now. And then all of a sudden, something triggers us like, yeah, like, dude, what's up with you? It's like, well, and
mm,
so once we get rid of all that stuff, you're gonna cry. I always tell people, go out in the forest and yell as much loud as you want. Go cry, go stomp on the ground, do whatever, get it out of your system. The
mm,
point. When I was doing a deep cleansing like that, I had to actually vomit. I
mm,
vomit. That's how deep and dark that a lot of the stuff that I was holding on to because of I did the work in my past life. I was a healer in my past life. I saw it. I used to be past life regression. And I was holding on to all these energies. And then once I released, I was like, well, this makes sense why I felt like this in my life. So
mm.
we're bringing our past into our present. And in our present, our past is basically repeating itself. So we want to clear it from the body, clear it from the mind, and then we welcome new things in. That's everything in a nutshell.
Thank you so much for sharing that. How important is it for women to reconnect to their intuition? Personally, I feel like it's incredibly important. It's like your navigation, right? You know how you have it like in your car, like your GPS. Like, I truly do believe that it's your GPS, but I also believe that like through every 10 years, you go through your 20s, it's a different kind of navigation system. And you go through your 30s, like now I'm in my 40s and I realize, oh, it's a different kind of navigation system. I
Yeah.
relearn again. And like you said, release a lot of things because we get stuck. We hold on to things from our past lives, from this life, from our mother's lives and the women before us that we really do get stuck. How important is it for women right now to really tap into their intuition and really make it their navigation system?
And with you on that is very important, especially for a woman, because we're such natural, intuitive beings. We are emotional beings. So if when I was getting into teaching a lot of this, I would say, check in with yourself at noon. And they're like, why? Well, ask yourself, like, how do I feel? How was my morning? What would I change in my morning? What am I looking for in the afternoon? And they're like, what does that have to do with that? I'm like, you're setting up your day. You're checking in with yourself. You're tuning in and you're tuning in with your guides. Because we are such natural manifestors, we could help our spouse. We could help the household. We could help relationships when we tap within ourselves. And some people might think, oh, it's hocus pocus. What's hocus pocus is you thinking it's hocus pocus. We're all having this human experience for crying out loud. You know what I'm saying? So that's the whole thing. And my sister says, oh, it's kumbaya. And I said, what's kumbaya is you not tapping into that. And you're looking to the news for information. I told you,
Mm.
I could tell you what happened literally 10 years ago, what was going to happen today. We're like, you're crazy. No, I saw this 10 years ago. I'm just watching the whole thing unravel now.
Just eating popcorn.
Now,
Yeah.
along the way, people are going to wake up, and so there's going to be two sides of the road. There's going to be the ego, and there's going to be the spirit, because you can't serve two
Mm,
masters. So choose your
mm,
master,
yeah.
right? Do you want to go with the ego and feel like you need to look for external validations, people pleasing, and all the stuff that sucks life out of you? Or do you want to bring life to you and say, I'm the navigator of my life. I'm abundant. I am worthy. I am confident. I'm this. I am that. It just really depends what side of the fence you want to be on. You
Mm.
choose. You have choice. So you can choose to complain or choose to be enlightened and enlivened and live your life free.
You feel right now, because I really do feel right now that the feminine energy is rising way more. As much as I like social media in terms of the information that I can receive, and then you can sort of curate it how you want. But the more that you see the things that are happening in the world, the more you realize that the feminine energy is very important and very intricate to the rest of this world and the universe and this evolution. And I do truly believe that it's going to take the energy of women to really rise up into their authenticity and sort of like don't want to say take it back, but remember, because I think that's something that we have like through life have forgotten, or it's been slowly like stripped away to the point where we do have that fear of stepping into this power. I think we think of this feminine energy. We do think of it. Society makes it feel like it's very dainty and like feminine this, but like it also has those raw points to it where we are wild women. And I love that book, Women Who Run with Wolves, because it talks all about that in terms of checking in the bones of our remembrance and the things that we continue to sit in, put on the shelf and not want to take it off. We make excuses or we get distracted, right? Like because we are everything, we're the nurturer, the, caregiver, everything that we actually, so many women that I spoke to recently are like, yeah, I love to take care of other people, but I forget to take care of myself, which I then feel sort of like removes us from our own feminine energy and that intuition. So, how do you see that playing out as we continue to see this world evolve in a way where it's like, I don't know, I'm kind of seeing more of that feminine energy coming in and people are tapping into it more, like, I think more than I've ever seen now.
And the thing is that we have to love ourselves enough to honor the power that we have. We
Mm,
have to love ourselves enough to understand who we are on such a grander scale. And the reason I say this is that we've been so compressed in our emotions. We've been so compressed in how we were made and what we were made to do in this world. And now as women are coming together and women are growing and women are finding their voice, right? It's
mm,
really about finding your voice. It all begins at home. 2020 happened to say, like, what toxicity, what viruses do you have in your life? Time to get rid of the viruses in your life. Who are you allowing to brainwash you in your life? Get rid of them. What are you putting in your body? What are you putting in your mind? Get rid of it. Work through it. 2020 was the biggest wake up call. If you took whatever was playing in the 3D world as the ego and shifted into a spiritual awakening and intelligence, it's really about clearing your space and stepping
mm,
into your power. Because if you don't step into your power, they're going to disempower you. And women, we're so easy to give our power because we have so many voids inside of us. Regardless of, do I feel loved? Do I feel accepted? Do I fit in? Who cares? You're going to find your people somewhere. And I'm speaking from my own experience here. I never was meant to fit in. I was always meant to stand out. I wasn't a follower. I was a leader. I am the alpha and the omega. See what I'm saying?
mm,
So how do you see yourself is so important in how we are growing in this day and age that we are in right now. My business is called Be Bold, Fierce, Unstoppable because every woman that came through was bold enough to say, I need help. Then when she realized who she was, she became fierce. Her hair changed, her outfit changed, the way she spoke about herself changed. Everything changed. Then she becomes fierce. And then when I see them become unstoppable, their life is just like, okay, now I see it. No one's going to take my voice. No one's going to take my power. No one's going to take my finances because I work with a lot of women going through divorce. So I saw all this stuff. But once these women gain their voice, work through their chakra, gain their step into their authenticness, we change the world. And we can't allow anyone else to try to rob that from us. We had to work hard to get us to where we are. And we're still not even where God has us planted. So
I
that's
love it. Yeah.
right. And there's a big bang coming, and I know the big bang is coming because I'm just waiting for it to land. I'm always like, all right, Jesus, when are the
Yeah.
horns going off? When are the eagles showing up? Like, hello, praise God, where are you? Now, like, you see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But if you don't get into you, you're gonna fall and start chasing the wrong people, like in 2020, and then you're gonna have regret. Then you're gonna have guilt. You're gonna say, "Why did I listen to this?" And da 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 da. 2020 was a huge wake up call. Did you fall? Did you go for the call, or did you fall flat on your face during the call? So this is
Mm,
the whole thing, and that's why women are rising. So many divorces are happening now because people are feeling like they're just disconnected from their own relationship because they've grown and evolved so much. I just keep on saying, just keep on rising. If people are falling off your side, thank you for being my teachers. It's time for you to go. Keep on looking up. Keep on looking up because that's what you're meant to be in. And especially
mm,
in the time right now. I find that women are so powerful. I see it in different countries with different presidents and prime because I follow different countries where women are like the presidents and prime, especially in Europe and stuff like that. And I'm like, yes, girl, yes, girl. Like, and she's like, I'm not batting an eyeball to no man. Show me evidence. So I feel like we have this very powerful presence. We come with compassion, but we won't back down to anyone when we know our power. And that's what I
Mm,
feel is that women are missing out on their power because they're so free to give it to everyone. Take that back,
mm,
harness it, go with it. And it doesn't have
mm,
to be like you're a man because women, we don't thrive like that. We're feminine. We're soft. We're compassionate. We're nurturing, we're understanding, but don't mistake that for weakness.
mm. Yeah.
Woo!
I
Hey,
love that. I love that. I want to touch on exactly what you said when you spoke about that power. I do believe that a lot of us out there do think that power is related to men. It's a manly thing, it's masculine energy, but we're realizing that power can come in any form. That is a beautiful thing. How then can women reclaim their power, like little by little? Because we know you can't do it all at once as much as we would like to, but with every reclamation, I would believe then comes this moment of reflection in where that power was given and how we can then take it back and then build a relationship with it in a healthy way that also then works with that feminine energy of compassion, which I love that you mentioned that. Because I think that's what we think about when we think of power. And we're like, when women want to be that compassionate and feminine and, energy and the nurturer, but then also then sometimes will go into their masculine and believe that they can't transfer them into one. Sometimes they feel like I can only be one or the other. And then sometimes we get into that masculine energy and we think about the power, but then we become more rigid, more closed off. We might not want to give in that emotional way because we're afraid of being hurt. And in those, I kind of feel like then you don't have this opportunity to really expand on who you are, especially when building relationships. So, what would you say to women out there who want to reclaim their power?
first, I want to say we're both masculine and feminine energies. We can't thrive off one if we're not thriving off the other. We have to find balance between both of them. As a woman, when I say when you're harnessing your power, you have to look at who am I talking a lot about? Do I have fear? Or do I have fear? Do I have guilt? Do I have shame? That's where you're giving your power, right? You're giving your power to guilt. Well, I feel guilty if I don't do that. Why? If you don't want to do it, you don't want to do it. It's just simple. Well, no, I have to do it. Then you start talking yourself into it. So basically, now you're going somewhere, right? You don't really want to do it. So you're not fully there. You're not fully engaged. So what are you doing? You're giving your power to powerless situations. So you really have to take that step back and be like, where am I giving so much of me that I don't want to give so much of me because it's out of shame or it's out of guilt or it's out of resentment or whatever it's out of. And then you take your power back by saying, it's okay if I don't want to do it. I'm not here to people please. And as women, we love to please everyone, but our own
Yeah.
man, right? So that's the first step of taking back your power. And that's the hardest part because now it's like, well, I don't want to hurt their feelings, but you're okay with hurting yourself. So power is having self-love. Power is having self-compassion. Power is nurturing yourself. That's power. It's not
Mm,
about giving yourself so freely. It's about power is having boundaries, practicing your boundaries. Power is not allowing people to step all over you. Power is knowing you have a voice to speak up for yourself. If you don't like it, you say it. If you like it, you say it. If you don't want to do it, you say it. If you want to do it, you say it. That's power. People will say, "Oh, Zak's really rough sometimes." I'm like, "No, I'm just honest." So to you, that's rough, or to you, that's too strong. Because I'm not saying it to you the way feels right to you. I'm just saying it the way I'm saying it. I'm not saying it to hurt you. I'm just saying it to love you. It trigger you. If you don't get triggered, you're not growing. In my triggers, I grow. If I'm comfortable, I'm not going to grow. So I like sometimes to poke the elephant in the room, and someone goes, "Why'd you do that for?" I'm like, "Because if I do that, people are going to start thinking." Ex just told me, I said, I was in Jamaica and he said, "Do you want to go swimming?" And I said, "No." He said, "Why?" I said, "I feel like you're going to drown me today." He goes, "I do feel like drowning." I said, "Why?" He goes, "Sometimes you say shit that makes me think." Right? Because you're voicing yourself. As women, sometimes what I noticed in my practice is that we have these voids in our body, this void of love, this void of acceptance, this void of fitting in, this void of wanting to be loved. And so what we do is we start putting all these unnecessary things in those little compartments to make us feel more whole. No man, no person, no situation, no journey is going to make you feel whole. You're going to make yourself feel whole first and foremost, and then other people are going to add to it. So where am I giving myself away because I'm avoiding the voids that are going on in my life? And I could guarantee you, you're allowing the wrong people in your life. You're allowing people to stomp all over you. You're allowing people to suck life out of you. You're over giving and under receiving. So then you feel powerless, right?
Mm.
Again, when you see that love, when you see that compassion you have for yourself, then you start letting go of things that aren't serving you. That's when you feel that power again inside of you. And power is not about going out there and being like, I mean, that has nothing to do with the power we're talking about. Power is about stepping authentically into how the creator created you. He didn't create you to be a weak woman. No woman in the Bible was weak. He didn't
Mm.
create you to be a woman that's sitting there and weeping for a man to come save you. You could save yourself. So how you take it and how you look at life is really how you're building your own life. So
Mm.
power, the first thing I would say is looking outside and saying, like, where am I? What am I? How am I filling in these voids from the external into the internal? And then you have to cut all that off and then start
Mm.
on space in love, compassion, nurturing, forgiveness. That all comes when you do it to yourself, fill in those gaps, and then you won't take anyone's bullshit anymore. No boundaries. You're not sucking life out of me. You know, you're not doing this to me. And you speak up. And then you're like, wow, I've changed. Well, no, you are who you are now because you are confident in yourself. You built growth within yourself. You became powerful within yourself because you're not lacking anything. You're fully abundant within yourself.
Wow, Zach. Wow. I love where this conversation is going. Thank you for elaborating and sharing that piece about the void. That's huge. And I hope that the listeners are who are listening really tap into that piece. And then I'm all about journaling. So then you got to go back and journal and be like, where are my voids and what am I filling it with? Because yeah, it can be that you might be filling it with things that aren't really working for you, or it's about that avoidance, right? We would rather avoid than actually facing what it is. And like you said, we are people pleasers. We would rather avoid the confrontation, knowing that most likely the other person will get upset or feel a ways about it. But in the end, we are compromising ourselves. And then we compromise ourselves into silence, which then makes us, I feel, is very unhappy. Because interesting that you say this, so many women out there will say, like, even when I'm around a group of people or when I'm around my family, I still feel alone. And in that piece right there, it has to be then that we're filling it with all these different voids of we're thinking if we have the family around, even though they might be making nasty little, snarky remarks, but we'll take it because the family is there and we're this, and it's all painted in this fairy tale picture. But at the end, within, it's not representing that fairy tale. What would you then say to people out there who have been painted this fairy tale picture of what life should be, and they're still unhappy? And then you come along now and you say, well, listen, like, your fairy tale doesn't have to look like what you've been taught your entire life. Your fairy tale can look like whatever you want. That can really be hard for a lot of women to take. Like, what? It can be whatever I want when my whole life it's supposed to be like this. What are other people going to think about me? Like, all of those things go through their head before they finally make that solid decision to say, you know what? I am going to cut this. I'm done. I know that I might get some flack from a lot of different people, but like, I need to hold strong. Like, what would you say, or what do you say to those women? And then I'm assuming you would hold space, or how do you help them to continue to at least maintain that fresh, new, brand new fairy tale that they're now creating that is like way different than what they had thought of before?
I love this question so much because this is where I start with everything. First of all, a fairy tale is a fairy tale at the end of the day. You didn't write the fairy tale, someone else told you the fairy tale.
Mm.
But in that fairy tale, you didn't find happiness because it wasn't meant for you to live in that fairy tale that someone else is navigating for you, whether it regard your parents, your spouse, society, marketing, all that stuff. So my number one question that I ask everyone is what makes you happy? And I could tell you right now, Rashida, 99.9% of the time, no one has a clue. No one has a clue. Because
Yeah.
women especially put all their energy in their kids, especially for the first 18 years. They forgot about their spouse, some of them, right? And that's just the way that so-called cookie crumbles. Or they feel disconnected from their spouse. So many different things have come up. Or they forgot to start even taking themselves out or doing the things that they love because they've invested so much time in their marriage or in their child's life and stuff like that. So I always say to them, your kids don't exist and your husband doesn't exist and you're the only one. What makes you happy? Or my grandkids, they don't exist.
Of course,
They don't exist.
yeah.
What makes you happy? I've had people say, Zach, I need 3 weeks to answer that question. And I said, that's great. You're now Dora the Explorer and you're going to go explore what makes you happy. But I don't even know. Good. Go explore. And then I'll give them examples of what makes me happy. Going into nature makes me happy. Cooking makes me happy. Listening to music makes me going to this, da, 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 da. And they go, okay. But I still don't know what makes me happy. Great. Go explore. And then one thing I love telling women is go do belly dancing or strict classes or pole dancing. Because once you start moving your hips, you start getting into that feminine energy. We're so robotic these days. I'm sure the podcast listeners can't see it, but I'm looking like a robot kind of walking. Right? Like that's all we know. Like we're just so robotic,
Yeah.
right? And then once we get out of that robotic move and say, okay, well, you know what? Maybe swimming makes me happy. Maybe going for hikes makes me happy. Being part of a community makes me happy. Meeting my soul sisters makes me happy. Okay, so where are you going to do that? Well, I don't know. Great. Now go explore where you're going to do all that. So when you go into the self-discovery of what makes me happy, you start to shift your energy. You start to shift your awareness. Your eyes start changing color. Your face starts changing color. Everything starts to change. So I will meet up with my clients and be like, so what did you do this week? What makes you happy? Well, I did this, this, and this. And how'd you feel? I loved it or I hated it, right? I typically tell a lot of women to go pole dancing or belly dancing just so they could get that energy out of their hips. But then I have had women go, oh my God, I think I found my new love. It really, self-exploration is the most important thing to your happiness because money cannot buy you happiness. It buys you conveniences, but happiness can make you a lot more money.
I love that. I
So
love that.
happiness is the most important thing in the world. Bob Marley says, happiness is not what you have in your bank account, but how you live your life.
Mm.
Out of you that makes you happy. When I heard that from Bob Marley, I was like, that is right there, my motto. So go explore, be Dora the Explorer. You're an adult, go traveling, go to different countries, like go and shop. Just find that. Go with your girlfriends. I love food. So I'm like, oh, does anybody want to go? No one wants to go. Good. I'm going on my own. Where's our new restaurant? What do I let you? So that self-exploration opens up your taste buds for life because you're not who you were before your marriage. You're not who you were before your kids. You're not who you were before anything. We've played these roles in what we thought we should be. We played these roles in how society is forming us to be, but that's not authentically who we are. So I'm going to say this, remove all the masks that you've been wearing of so-called fake happiness. Remove all the positive vibes because failure is part of happiness. Like once you realize failure is same as positivity, then your whole life changes, right? So there's just so much that we have to unlearn to learn within ourselves. And remember this, that God didn't have a conference call with anyone else. It's just you and higher powers that are there to create this story with each other. Co-creation.
Mm-hmm. I love that. Wow. Thank you. Thank you, Zach. I love how you spoke about connecting to the body. I feel like we're in a time where we are going into what does it feel like? What does the experiences feel like to us, whether they are good or bad? The relationships, what do they feel like? Rather than putting so much thought to it, we want to go back into our body and be like, this doesn't feel good. And then follow that, which then, of course, is like your intuition. It's telling you through your body. But that piece of like women being so rigid and feeling like at a certain point, if you have kids or not, once you hit a certain age, you must be like this. After you have kids, all of a sudden you just rigid. You shouldn't move your body. You shouldn't be sensual. You shouldn't show that part of you anymore. It's not allowed or something. And I really do feel like that's the most important area is the sacral area of tapping into what feels good, your pleasure. And it doesn't just have to be sensual, but the pleasure of just you enjoying life, right? Just like what you said, a lot of people don't know what makes them happy, but it's also the little things, right? Those things that we forget over time because we've been so focused on everybody else. The small things of like, oh, I forgot that I love to do art, or "Oh, I forgot that I love to go for these walks or be by the water." But those are the things that re-energize us. And so what it seems like you're saying is that it's like you don't have to start big, but if you start something small, you'll find a way to just tap into that and be able to connect more to your body.
Yeah.
Now, this is a great question that has just come up. Now that like a lot of these women, I'm assuming you work with women from all age ranges, right?
Yeah, between 45 and up. Sometimes I'll get the 30-year-olds, but typically about 45, 40s and up.
So what would then you say to, is there like a moment do you feel for women? Because I've noticed it a lot when they're hitting about 40 and then we hit about 45, we go through like perimenopause. Some people are going through menopause during that time and like our hormones are fluctuating. Things are happening within ourselves that like, sometimes we can't really explain, but we know that like it definitely feels different. And now we want to speak about it. We want to be in spaces where we can feel like we belong in some way and be like, okay, I am not crazy. What would you say to women who are now going into their 40s? Because, I have friends who are like, late 40s, early 50s, and they say like, oh shit, it changes. Like everything about it changes the way that you speak, how you view yourself. Like you start to not give a shit about like what anybody says, and you're focused more on yourself. For a lot of those women, is that peak for them where they're just like something has shifted within me and I can't explain it, but I know that I need a change.
I love this question. Because what I want to say is, as you're speaking, is stop taking someone else's journey and making it yours. Stop. Stop. I see women like, I'm going through menopause right now. Did it happen? When did it happen? I don't know. My body was doing its thing. I honored my body to do its thing. If I was tired, I was tired. I'd lay down. If I had energy, I'd go do my things. But stop pushing your body to these limits and thinking, I'm part of the
Mm,
hustle, 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 hustle. I'm a woman. I don't hustle. I attract. I don't hustle. Things come to me. I align. Stop with this culture of hustling. And I have a t-shirt line called Spiritual Hustler. That's the funnier part, right?
mm,
The thing is, this is that I don't know when I was going through perimenopause. I have no idea. I had my period 1 month and I had it for a whole year, 3 years, 4 years. So I don't know. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I'm 52 now. I felt like I was gonna have my period until I was 55 because it was just natural. 52, my last moon cycle came and then it was done. And I was like, oh, I have more energy now. If I listened
mm.
to what they talk about menopause, I would be so exhausted. I would be like this, and I won't have sensual energies. I am hornier than horny, and I'm going through menopause. Like, this doesn't make sense to me. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I can't take what people are saying and making it mine. That's not what my body is going through. I've been tuning into
Mm.
my body since I was child. So yes, you're going to go through things. There's a new one that everyone says, "Oh, I have ADHD." Really? And there's so many people that I've seen on social media really take that. The doctor gives you a diagnosis, and all of a sudden, that's all you talk about, and you put, "I am this." I so now you're becoming that, right? When I recognized that I had symptoms, my body had symptoms of ADHD, I said, okay, what is it that I have to work on? Okay, so I'm hypertension. I can't sit still. My mind's doing this. Okay, great. Put the clock on for 30 minutes and sit still for 30 minutes. And you can't get up until that clock gets up. What am I doing? I'm training my body now, retraining my body where it's at. You're not going to get up for 30 minutes. You're not going to go get snacks. You're not going to go run here. You're going to focus on what you're going to do because, yes, you're going to lose your focus. That's just part of life, right? As teens, we lose focus. In school, as kids, we're told, well, kids, and this is the only era that we're sitting in a classroom in front of them looking at a teacher, we're not out playing. Like, that just doesn't make sense to me. And they say, oh, your child's slow. No, your child's not in the right area for them to develop properly.
Mm.
That's one of the school system. I was like that. child that had all these developmental issues. No, I had a problem with your system, that something was wrong with me. So what I'm going
Mm,
to say is stop making everything yours, because my menopausal journey is, if I listen to other people, is nothing like other people's. Nothing like other people. Yes, I could have symptoms that we could be experiencing, like the frozen shoulder. Why is my shoulder hurt all of a sudden? Well, it's part of menopause. Great. Am I going to say, oh, I still have frozen shoulder? No, because what am I going to do? I'm going to say, I have frozen shoulder. What do I need? Okay, inflammation, ginger, turmeric, black pepper. Perfect. I'll put that in some castor oil, mix it up, put it on my thing. Within 3 weeks, I feel like I'm healed. Our
mm,
body heals itself. But when you say, I am this and I am that, and you're taking all these titles and making them yours, what are you saying is, my body is breaking down on me.
mm,
Where I'm saying my body is changing, and I just need to get to know the changes that I have to adjust to. So what are these changes I have to adjust to? Okay, so now I didn't have my moon cycle for 2 months. I don't know if it's going to come next month. I don't know if it's going to come the next month. But when it did come after 2 months and I felt drained out, I didn't do what I did for 2 months when my body had energy. My body was drained. I started to bleed. Guess what I did? I laid down because
yeah.
my body needed that rest. So listen to your body, because your body is literally your intelligence. Your body is your GPS. Your body is your lifeline. Your body is your story. I'm the one that told the doctor I had cancer, not the doctor telling me, because that's what my body told me. That's what my grandfather told me in my dream. So when we get in tune with our body, understand our body, stop Googling everything that's wrong with you, and start going within you and asking, how can I change this? What can I do? Then you start becoming a different individual. You know, I did an Instagram story once and saying, I don't know about everyone listening to, when you have menopause, it's man-o-pause. I'm hungrier for men now than I was back then. Like, I'm hungrier now because my body's at a different place. My body
Mm,
feels like this right now because we all grow and develop differently. So, do I listen to what people are saying about menopause? I hear them. I don't make it mine.
mm,
And if I feel something, they say, I'm like, yeah, that could be a correlation. Let me fix this and let's see what else happens. I had 2 frozen shoulders. I couldn't even move both my arms. Like, it was the worst feeling in the world. But then when I said, okay, body, what do I do? My body said, da, da, da. Plus I have a nutritional background too. I have a whole bunch of healing modalities that I know as well. So I just take what I was prepared with from the past and made it my present. And now it's like, okay, body, you're healing on its own. What else do you need? I need walk. I need sun. I need water. I need vacations. Say,
yeah.
perfect. Yeah, I'm up for it. So when you tune into your body, you're tuning into that natural intelligence. You're tuning into your higher consciousness. You're turning into your spirit guide. You're tuning into how you've been created, not how you've been literally told you should be, but how you were created to be.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that piece about not taking it on as your own. We are quick to absorb other people's energy, especially too as empaths, which I think we all are in some way. And we just might not even realize it. And then we take it on as ours, whether that's saying I am or getting caught in a story that's not ours or stories that have been created and we just carry it on from generation to generation. What could you say? My last question. What could you say to the younger generation? Because we do see now that like it's more open communication. You know, back in the day, my mom is going to be 80. Like you communicate, you don't, right? You don't share any of that. And over time, we've seen that it's been evolving. And we now have the younger women out there who are like, no, I want to take care of myself first. No, I don't feel like I need to get married and have kids and do all those things that society says. And yes, that looks different, but I'm also just honoring where I am right now. And even if I don't have it figured out, at least I'm willing to take whatever steps I need and actually care for themselves in ways that like we've never seen before. What could you say to the younger generation? Because I have like teen girls and I'm always sharing all of these things with them in ways that hopefully they receive because, you know, I'm mom, of course. But at the same time, I want them to at least know that they can be open enough to share questions that they feel sometimes like, oh, mom, this kind of sounds like a silly question. I'm like, no, there's no such thing as a silly question. Like, ask me and let's talk about it if you want. And I think that that is something that's really important now in this time for these younger women so that when they get to a certain age, they can already be in that knowing. That's what I hope for my girls, of course.
Yeah, I hope that for a lot of girls. I hope for a lot of teens. One thing that I wish I knew back in those days is yes, we grew up in a different era. And yes, we're now wanting to share everything. Not everything is shareable. Keep some things sacred to yourself. You can't trust everyone. There's wolf in sheep's clothing. So you could have your even your close knit friends or even your family members. You might not have a few people that you could trust there, right? But you could trust yourself. And so what I say is like really keep stuff sacred. If you're going through something, you could have a conversation with some people, but again, it's an opinion that's coming back to you. Stop making it yours. Listen to what people have to say. See if it correlates with you. See how it fits into how you're living or whatever you're going through, and take it from there. But I wish I kept a lot of things sacred because one thing that I learned in my life is a lot of the things I said that I was going to do, once I put out there, oh, I'm planning on doing this, Allison energetically sabotaged that. And I didn't understand it. I kept on hearing, you know, the big guys upstairs saying, don't tell people. And I'm like, but I just want to celebrate. Like, why can't I have goodness in my life? Why is it always me that could celebrate everyone else? But when it comes to me doing this and this, I can't do it. And that's what I learned. I learned to keep a lot of things sacred. I learned to really honor my boundaries. I learned to really, really hone my energy and who I would give it to and who I don't give it to. Whereas
Yeah.
before, I was like a prostitute. Just give it to everyone. Just give it to everyone. Like the
Yeah.
prostitute energy, the prostitute archetype. That didn't get me too far, the prostitute archetype, right?
Mm.
It brought me down. But when I came up and I said, okay, so what did you do in your past? So, because I'm 52, what I did is, what did you do before 50 that didn't work for you? And I wrote everything down. And now I'm not taking this 50 and beyond. That's the old Zak. The new Zak is, I don't care what anyone thinks about me. I don't care what anyone says about me. I just don't care about anything. If I'm going to speak to you, I'm going to speak to you from love, and how you take it is your problem, not my problem.
Mm.
If
I
it
love
triggers
that.
you, that's not my problem. That's probably because I said something to you that you have to work on. And I'm sorry that I had to say it to you, but that's just the way the cookie crumbles. If you want to be mad at me, knock yourself out. It doesn't bother me. I still sleep well at night. So I
Mm.
really learned to not care, where before I was a magnet for caring. And that
Mm.
magnet for caring, what it did, it weakened me. I don't share a lot of things with people. I don't share when I go on my holidays. I don't share where I go on my holidays. Unless you're a close friend of mine, and I'll say, don't tell people what I do. Don't tell people my stuff. Because like women, like don't tell other people's stories. I had someone say, did you tell so and so about my story? And I'm like, not my story to tell. Don't gossip. If you're gossiping about someone else, that tells me that your life is boring, that you need to add some more fun into your life. So what does fun really mean to you? So
Mm.
50 now, I'm a whole different person from my 50 and younger self. But I had to learn that there is wolf in sheep's clothing. There are a lot of two-faced people out there. There's a lot of jealousy out there. It could be your friends and your family. It could be anybody, right? So use discernment. Very word, a word that I had to use for many years, discernment. Even my friend goes, do you still use the word discern? I said, no, I'm on to obedience now. I'm on to obedience now. Because when I'm obedient to my master, which is the guy that created me, and he knows me better than anyone out there. So don't let
Mm.
people tell you who you are, because they only see as far as they could see themselves.
I like that one.
And with that one.
Thank you so much. Oh, yeah, I loved how you ended that. How can people find Zak? Like, list everything. Because I also know that you have a podcast as well. Like, share it all. I love podcasts. So, like, yeah, I always want to hear the gems. So, please tell everyone where they can find Zak.
Absolutely. So you can find me on my website, bfuclub.com. That's bold, fierce, unstoppable club.com, but just the letters, bfuclub.com. I'm on Instagram at spiritual hustler. That's HSTLR. And then my podcast, I'm actually revamping it right now. So I've been off the air for a while and I'm revamping it. There's a new podcast coming that was just downloaded to me yesterday. So I'm excited for that. So I don't even know what that's going to be, what that looks like right now. But you can reach me in those two places right there.
Thank you so much, Zach. Everything that you shared today was so many gems. I loved, oh, there's so many little pieces from the void to just not. I love the part where you're like, do what you want to do. Don't care what anybody says. I'm there. I feel like I'm on the brink of that, right? Like I had some moments where I was like, you know what? F it. Like I'm just not even gonna care what other people think anymore. I'm just gonna say it. And however you take it is however you gotta figure it out. So I appreciate that you shared that because it makes me feel like I'm on the right track, right?
For sure.
Once again, thank you, Zach. This is the Ultimate Human Experience Podcast. We are out. Peace.